And on top of all of that, you have to consider the fact that Beastmaster can melt those Eidolons quite fast with a wild axis. You have some great free vision in the Hawks that can scout the Enigma and Sand King farming up, spot those initiations from a mile away as well. And Geek Fam's draft is just really tight. And now this kind of puts hashtags draft a bit closer together. You have that Alchemist now. You have a Rising hero that you really want to get up and running early on. You have so many ways of buying him space with the three heroes you have picked beforehand because they're going to be forcing that early to mid game quite aggressively with their spells, and they can sustain team fights without the Alchemist. My question is, are those team fights going to really be as successful as you expect? Sure, Geek Fam, issues. Faceless Void, not going to be great. Early to mid game, Chronosphere that he lets out, he's not going to be doing too much damage. It's something we've seen time and time and again. It takes a while for that hero to get the farm up. But can Alpha get enough space on their Enigma and Sand King to have them initiate the way they want to? Catching out the Rubik, the Void, probably the Beastmaster as well, it's going to be a bit of concern for the Enigma. And forcing that bad team fight, translating that to objectives, buying space for your Alk, it's a pretty tall order from Alpha X hashtag as well.
Certainly is. Plus, the Alchemist recently received quite a heavy nerf as well, so he doesn't really escalate as fast as he used to. Gonna need at least a couple more minutes before he gets to that point he would have been at. Of course, we do see Geek Fam. They'll get rid of the Troll Warlord. Fair enough. Alpha X hashtag, what are you getting rid of this time around?
10 seconds remaining.
And I mean, do you just put this Alchemist mid? I guess the thing is they're not going to know the mid matchup up against Geek Fam, so bit of an awkward last pick here for Alpha. Geek Fam, I mean, once they see this pick, they're going to understand who they need to pick up to just dominate the Alchemist mid lane. Which I feel like is very important as well, because they don't really have the early game potential to just roam around and gank this Alchemist, up until you see that Beastmaster level 6, I suppose.
Definitely. The one thing as well is that if your Alchemist does get a bad time, he's going to be sharing jungle with the Enigma and possibly the Sand King, which just really limits the space this hero has to snowball.
Certainly does. Well, they'll think about it. Still about 50 seconds reserve time left for this final pickup. I mean, at the very least, this draft should be super entertaining to watch. Still, we have seen these Enigma pickups where they just never use the ultimate because there's too many counters, and I wouldn't blame them doing the same thing this game. So they'll finish off with the Ember Spirit. Fair enough. So either the Alchemist or Ember can both go mid or safe lane, right? So you can switch it up no matter what. The Ember, I suppose, is there to set the tempo through the mid game with the Alchemist. I suppose they just don't really want to allow Geek Fam to get online with that Void. Just set the tempo super early on because you're just so much more farmed, and then go from there. Will it work, though, is another question.
5 seconds.
Yeah, it's really up in the air there. All the heroes on Alpha X hashtag require a bit early on to get online. The Ember Spirit, of course, needs a couple of mid-game items to be there. The Sand King, the Enigma, need something to get going for themselves as well. So you've got a lineup with basically about 4 heroes that need farm and EXP. The Sand King, of course, if it's going to be that support Sand King or the Enigma, one of them is going to get shafted slightly, but beyond that, these guys have to share quite nicely. Geek Fam with their Tricore, Faceless Void, Beastmaster, Lena, it's much more clear how that distribution goes to Beastmaster. Is probably going to be okay, taking less jungle farm, less space for himself. You will be giving that to the Void, and Raven should have a good time farming up here. I like the Lena pick as well. We have seen that with the Void coming out and the Ogre Magi every single time, and it just really works out quite nicely. The issue is, it could be a rough time if you are going to be facing Miracle down mid, if that is going to be the mid Ember. After a couple of levels, of course, that shield is very hard to burn through as the Lena, and that's something that Alpha X hashtag can abuse. The issue for Alpha X hashtag now is that they have to really win out in that early game, buy themselves that space and momentum to get their snowball going, because they need to get a good start in the unit. They need to get a good start in the Sand King. They need space for the Alchemist and a good start for Miracle. So all of that has to happen for their lineup to carry good momentum into the mid game, whereas Geek Fam, they can just kind of throw their bodies out and buy space for Raven. We saw it last time in a Void game as well. You just buy space for the Void, suddenly you can't do anything against the Chronosphere.
Very true. Well, Geek fam, they've got a very, very singular kind of mission to follow here in this game. Number one, Alpha X hashtag. A lot of variables that need to kind of align for them to be able to pull off this game. And of course, if they take it way too late, yeah, you still have an Ember Spirit. But against the Void, we've already said it, it doesn't usually pan out very well. But let's see how it all goes, as the game should start very, very soon. I'm kind of intrigued to see how they lane this, especially for the Dire side. It seems much more simple on the side of the Radiant. There's a lot of games. Never mind, that's a lot of games. Well played, Velo. Let's move into it. Game number one between these two. We'll get started.
This is really going to be interesting to watch, because that laning phase is what Alpha X hashtag is going to be relying on. Again, you want the Enigma to be able to work up to that Dominator quite fast, into the BKB or the mech or the Blink. It really depends on how hashtag does decide to go for this. And you have to consider as well, it's going to be really easy to punish this sort of lineup if Geek Fam gets any sort of space there. They already have the Beastmasters scout out that jungle. They've got Dubu who can just run in and out of that jungle and be a major nuisance. Like, the jungle farm is not going to be amazing if you're going to go for that greedy jungle lineup, and it looks like they are kind of setting themselves up for that. Paulson is going to be going that jungle. He has 2 clarities, the Basilius up, so he's just going to be trying to find those creeps there, but again, it's a Beastmaster with Hawks. It's going to be out there. It's going to be sent out to look for anyone farming there, and it's just not going to be as safe as you want.
I mean, it looks like they've put the safe lane Ember as well on the side of hashtag, and I mean, for now, up against the Void, it's going to be an okay lane, but if they chose to switch it up a bit with that Beastmaster going up top instead, could be rather disastrous for the Ember. But we'll see. Is now going to move in for these banner runes. Velo, he'll go for the Sandstorm early on. Does get stunned up though, and it will be 3 banner runes going to the side of Geek Fam. In fact, never mind, it'll be 4.
That is a really bad start for Nothing to Say.
Yeah.
You really want to at least get yourself some bounty runes. Even trade is probably the best thing you could hope for in this situation, but this slows down the Alchemist really hard. That means he's not going to have that instant regen access. He's leaning against Alina. That's just not favorable at level 1 with Grievold's Greed first. You're not going to be able to trade hits. It's not going to be safe to farm up. And overall, you're going to lose a bit of gold, varying yourself that regen as this lane slowly trods forward.
Oh, Ryoya, he's fighting so much already as well. I mean, you mentioned it, but Ryoya, he's just going to harass the hell out of him. Yeah, he's going to bring out some regen very, very soon on this Alk, but just a bad start after the nerf. And you look at this griefing with the CS as well.
Oh, man.
Every time he moves in, he cops an LSA, he can't get any last hits going, and that means Grievold's Greed does nothing. Oh my.
Yeah, it's just rough when you can't find those hits. You can't find what you want here. He's 1-0, and you know we're saying it like it's a massive deal, but we're 1 minute in, and you're not getting value from that for a spell. Ryoya again is just having a wonderful time down mid.
Certainly is. This is just I mean, it's the basics of the Lina matchup. Most of the time, you aren't going to win 1v1 against the Lina mid. We'll keep a close eye on it. We'll come back to it as we'll move down to the bot lane where Miracle has actually rotated down bot up against Cuckoo. I didn't think he'd want this matchup, especially up against the double balls that Cuckoo will have. But it looks like they do opt for that, but you can see the harassment already. I mean, Miracle will flame guard up at the very least and threaten Cuckoo's life back. But he's going after the balls rather than going after the creeps. And while he's been doing that, I mean, Cuckoo just keeps farming.
Yeah, this is an interesting swap out. It does kind of tell you that they want to prioritize Velo a bit more, which is, again, interesting to say the least, because normally you want your Ember Spirit up and online with a couple of items in the mid-game to be a menace. But it's not going to be an easy time, as Miracle's not going to have the best trade capability in the world. Granted, Cuckoo is kind of left alone here, so there are moments where you can apply some harass.
Well, they won't have the Eidolon deny of the creeps either, because Paulison was being harassed out by Zephyr, so he had to back out towards his own jungle and really not waste any more time with this Rubik. Though Cuckoo now going to be chased down. Frost Shield not really available right now, but Miracle, he gets chains off. Now the Frost Shield's available. Cuckoo, he'll be the first blood. Going to the way of Alpha X hashtag. And Winter, he was so patient. He was waiting for that creep to die so he could get his level 2, got the Frost Shield, used it immediately, and Miracle finds the first blood.
Yeah, you cannot underestimate this lane combination. Just the Flame Guard and the Frost Shield does so much work. I'm not sure if that should be allowed, dude. Doesn't the Frost melt? Like, surely that shouldn't be physically possible. But it is quite deadly when it is off, and Cuckoo, he can't really do much. He has no way of harassing them out besides the boars. I believe Zephyr was stuck at level 1 for most part in that fight, so he couldn't really help as well. And that is some good punishment coming out from Alpha X hashtag.
Did you really just question the science in Dota, John?
Yes. Yes. Oh, develop.
Top lane, yeah, he's in a bit of trouble. Raven just harassing him underneath that sentry. The problem is, though, with level 2 Sandstorm, it does so much magic damage that Velo may just not care at all. And he'll just keep standing there and essentially just right-clicking back. And of course, now with Dubu on him, it's going to be a bit harder because he doesn't have the Sandstorm available. But in those Sandstorm moments, it's not like the Void can really afford to try and trade right-clicks.
Yeah, definitely so. It's going to be a rough time with melee heroes as well. Although Miracle down bot.
Looks like he's about to drop, though. Zephyr, he will find the final right-click. Miracle will pick up, or will lose his life in the process. Meanwhile, Ryoya in mid lane does get very, very low. Look at Paulison. He's going to haste rune. He's going to chase up with the Eidolons. He should be able to find this. Though Paulison, the stun! It does land, but he gets the final hit off before it connects. And that's not something you see every day. Level 3 Enigma rotating down mid with a haste rune, but it works out.
It's something that Nothing to Say really needed, because that lane was definitely being won out by that Lina. I like that rotation from Paulson. I think you really need to do that when you're running this kind of greedy lineup. You have to help each other out, because if you don't, then by mid-game you're just eating each other's space, and that's really hard to share.
5-minute bounty in spot lane. There's going to be a bit of a scuttle, and Cuckoo realizing he may not go in. No, in fact he does, though there is 3 bounty runes, I believe, to the side of Geek fam. But Cuckoo still moving forward, but chained up. They really want Paulison. They will find him, and Cuckoo now going to make a run for it as Zephyr pushing them back. Those Eidolons, though, you've got to be very careful about those. They do a lot of damage. Nevertheless, Cuckoo does manage to get out. He'll shrine up, and they do find a nice pickup.
Yeah, that's, again, really good kills coming out here for Geek fam. Good trades. They do manage to secure themselves their bounty runes as well. At least it's a 2-for-2 in bounty runes, which means the Alchemist is, again, not going to be snowballing as hard as you'd want. You do manage to force rotations out as well. You're slowing down the Enigma. You have to remember that with this Rubik pick, the Fade Bolt takes away so much damage from those Eidolons that it actually makes it really hard to trade.
Gets lifted up, gets stunned up, and Ryoya, he'll follow up with the Laguna as well as the LSA, and Nothing to Say. I mean, well, there's really not much to say, John. He does end up going down, and with that, the harassment towards that mid-T1 does begin with the siege creep, though it looks like at the very least the Lich will stop all that with Frost Shield and, of course, the fortification.
Yeah, it's a good rotation this time from Geek fam, and it definitely builds up in their lead, slows down an Alchemist as you'd want. He's eventually going to have to dip in that jungle, and it looks like Paulson is ready for that, though. He has dipped out of that jungle of their own, and is pressuring that bot lane, so that's some pretty good signs from Alpha X at the very least.
Cuckoo gets the Malefice placed on him, and now Miracle chasing. Does have level 1 chains and gets both him and Raven. The Chrono's available, but they got Cuckoo already. Now the Frost Shield is there on Paulson to try and protect. Looks like Paulson will be dead anyway, although nice startling gaze. Paulson, he can't really get away, so it'll be a 1-for-1 trade. But again, Alpha X hashtag, I mean, they force out a rotation from the Void. They force out a Chrono. They find a core for a support. I just don't think you're upset if you're the side of the Dio.
You're definitely not too upset. I'd say you'd be happy with that trade in terms of kills. You lose your support Enigma, so what? You manage to take a bigger kill in exchange. You're not going to be too upset from Geek fam for using that Chronosphere, though. Like, again, there's very limited opportunities to use that spell in the early game anyway. At the very least, you managed to find the kill. So both sides are kind of happy with that trade. I'd say it's fairly even, just slightly better for Alpha X. but Geek Fam isn't going to be too perturbed by that.
Paulson, the Enigma, still trying to get that Helm of Dom. Bit of a slow process for him, but it looks like he'll have it up pretty darn soon. Still, Cuckoo does hit the level 6 mark just after a neutral creep, and now Velo could be in a spot of trouble if he does get spotted. Dubu doesn't really have a sentry available though, but, well, they have Dust instead. They'll get started, Velo gets roared up, Paulson moving in but doesn't have level 6 yet, though he's willing to help out with the Malefice, and actually Dubu, he'll end up going down. Now there'll be a rotation for Miracle very early on, they'll find another onto Zephyr, and Cuckoo's going to try and make a run for it. Miracle will not leave him alone though, still though, he's getting very, very low, he's going to try and Remnant out of there. Looks like Velo moving in, they'll go after the Lena now, he Remnants back Ryoya, he'll go down as well.
Tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under
That was a pretty damn nice turnaround.
Definitely was. It's plays like that should give Alpha X the space they need. While all of that happens, of course, Raven finds a kill in Winter, but you're not going to be upset about that. You find some massive kills up top, you're going to take this tier 1, you force out some TPs, you slow down the Lena, you're buying space for your Alk. This is everything that you could possibly ask for from Alpha X as they tie up the scoreboard 6-6, less than 1k lead. Still not the best science in the world, but you have the space for your Alchemist to really accelerate now. If you can keep buying that space, you're going to have a massive momentum swing come about 15 to 20 minutes.
Dire's bottom tower
Of course,
is
it's
under
just
attack.
nothing to say. Having much more space to just do what he needs to do and keep farming up. And it's not going towards that Radiance now. In fact, he just got the phase boost, and it kind of shows you how miserable of a game it has been for nothing to say. Still at 3.4k net worth, but that should escalate from this point on. Meanwhile, Burrow Strike Velo really sitting up on Cuckoo already with the Sandstorm and Caustic Finale. It's just so much darn damage. Cuckoo, well, he may need to try and make another play with that Roar very soon, as he could go bot lane. But it looks like he is going to fight over those top banner runes. Meanwhile, Raven just commits the chrono on Paulson. He only finds one, to be fair. And it looked like he could have found two, but he doesn't want to risk it. He'll just take the kill he finds more important and backs off.
Yeah, while all that happens, they lose Cuckoo up top, but you're pretty okay with that trade. It's 1 for 1. Your safe lane core does find that big kill as well, so it helps accelerate his farm. That did secure the Midas for Raven as well. So his farm should start building up. It does take a while for the Void again to really come into its own. You did manage to expend a Chronosphere as well, which, again, we talk about every single time. A lot of teams really don't burst it every time it's off cooldown early on. It's fine to use it in 1 hero or 2 heroes. Just try to find a kill with it, because otherwise it's just unused. It's a bit of a waste. And Geek Fam is kind of aware of that. They have been making decent enough use of it. They are getting themselves some space in the map. Now, the one thing is that while all of this is happening, once again, you take a look at Nothing to Say. He's already escalated to 5k gold. He's just about 500 behind that Void. And this is when he starts to build up. He's just free farming now. No one from Geek Fam punishing this kind of move with 2 heroes in the jungle. Both the Enigma and the Alchemist can really just build off of this space now.
Gosh, Alchemist looks like such a balanced hero, John.
Look at that. 2 camps at once. And just proccing Grievel's Greed.
No problems here. Perfect. Yep, more money for me. And suddenly I'm about to be top of the net worth board, even though I completely lost my lane. Sounds perfectly fine. I mean, you were questioning the science. I'm just questioning the balance, John. It's kind of ridiculous.
Seems balanced to me, Mike. I'm not sure what you're complaining about. He has a little guy on his head. I mean, that's the Alchemist. This is just one big troll at the bottom, so
Fair
he has to
point.
be tiny for all its life. I think that's fairly balanced in my eyes.
Nothing to say. Sensing something wrong. There was a smoke coming out from Geek Fam. They are still trying for this, though. Nothing to say. I mean, he had an Observer Ward. I don't believe they smoked underneath that Observer Ward. But good game sense from him. He does back off to safety.
Yeah, it's really good coming out from Alpha X. They managed to secure that bot tier 1 as well, making good use of that Eidolon army being built up by Paulson. And this is the one thing with Alpha X's draft, right? We mentioned them having a pretty wonky laning phase, although it did draw even in the end. but the fact that they haven't been shut down for their greed means they
lane.
can build off of this.
Miracle, oh, he tried to predict the LSA.
Oh.
Almost found it. Now Zephyr moves in with the Remnant. He needs help though. He Remnanted into the shrine. He's got no mana. And Miracle, of course, tips him straight away. Meanwhile, top lane, looks like Bello. Nice Burrow Strike into the Epi though. Raw does come out from Cuckoo, and that will stop all the damage from the Epicenter coming out. Or at the very least, him chasing him down with that. Still though, Geek fam, I mean, they're at a 7 to 8 2k deficit now to the side of Alpha X hashtag. And I suppose we should have a look at Dota Plus, who does say Alpha X hashtag does have a 62% chance of winning this game.
They definitely have worked this early, the later part of the laning phase quite well. The major issue was, again, the greed that they had to have in that laning phase. It's paid off. Like, you see Paulson, he's sharing the farm just fine now, but Nothing to Say. Nothing to Say is pretty well off. He has his recipe up. He's just waiting for the Sacred Relic Gold, about 1.4k away, which in Alchemist time is pretty much just like, what, 1 minute? 1 minute and a half at most. And once that's up, he has his Radiance. He's going to flash farm even faster. We do see pressure now. Ooh.
Raven, nice. Chrono being committed. Frost Shield will protect Bello for a bit, but he's really got no way out of this. But Chain Frost, Winter, wanted to go back in apparently. It does bounce between the balls, but now Raven says thank you very much. And he will just chase Winter down, though apparently Winter will actually just juke him out. So it looks like they will just focus their attention on that tier 1 top tower. The bot tower, though, is being pressured by Nothing to Say. In fact, it's already gone down. So Geek fam essentially playing catch up with this tower. In fact, Miracle now is there to defend. They'll find Winter, but he's wasted so much time. He'll Frost Shield up and just run away, and this is just perfect play from Winter. He's gonna die in the end, but the fact that he saved that top tier 1 tower, I mean, it allows his Ember, allows his Alchemist to get a bit more farm up before they manage to take it down.
Yeah, that's really good moves from him. I think it's mainly down to the fact that Miracle was up there. That's when they started retreating. That got them enough time.
Bello brought up straight away. Raven, can he dish
yeah.
out the damage? No, Burrow Strike is there from Zephyr. Now they found Miracle, and this is the team fight they wanted originally. Miracle's so slow with the Remnant. Paulson has Black Hole. You've got to be careful about that, though the Rubik is around, and you don't want to give that away. So Paulson hesitates to use it. He does not. He just throws out the Eidolons, saves Miracle's life, and it looks like he'll probably be alright with that, though. Winter pops up again on Ryoya now. Gets Yuled up. And that rotation, I mean, I think he was going after those bounty runes, but he was just a bit too late. He managed to find one, but it does cost him his life.
Yeah, this is all down to Zephyr. All the spell steals he's had so far has been on point. He's stolen the Remnant twice now. I believe in that last fight he stole it once, and that's what set off the kill. The first kill to Winter. That's given them that space and advantage. I like seeing this coming out from Geek fam. Not only Zephyr's Rubik, but Raven on this Void has just been so active. He's been all over the map since finishing that Maelstrom.
Yeah, I love the play from Raven this game. Well, he's chasing up the Alchemist, though. Burrow Strike is there from Velo, and he's going to go straight onto Dubu. Dubu does dust up, but it looks like the rest of his team are not coming in to help. And Dubu would essentially just end up dying to Nothing to Say. Well, though Chrono is up now. Raven, going to jump in, immediately commits it. Just no downtime on this Chrono, or rather no uptime. Now the Burrow Strike straight onto Winter. And John, I gotta say, it's very rare you see a Void like this that literally uses Chrono as soon as it's available over and over again.
I love it. I love seeing this coming out from Geek fam. Raven has been maximizing his hero. You have to give props to Ryoya, who's always there to back him up, and Zephyr to help find even more kills across the map. It's just been insane. We talked about the Rubik being a really good pick here because of every single spell he could steal, and you're seeing that to great effect. The Burrow Strike's great. If you steal the Remnant on the Rubik as well, that's pretty fantastic. Any spell from the Lich is fantastic as well. Just so much value from this Rubik. It's doing so much work after a pretty even start. Geek fam is turning it around. Now, granted, while all of this is happening, Nothing to Say has been farming up. He's taking the network lead now.
Oh, he baits at the Black Hole. Bot lane, Paulson commits it, gets stunned up straight away, and just ends up dying. Miracle, he'll go after Raven, but he understands he's dead for that. He committed all his remnants to try and get the trade. Finds a killing spree off Raven, gives one back away to Dubu.
Yeah, it's an interesting trade to make, I'd say. I'm not sure if he needed all remnants. Granted, he might have been dead either way. Still, though, you're seeing the effect of Geek fam's aggression on the map. They are really finding the favorable trades. In the end, Alpha X hashtag looks to be buying space for nothing to say. He's got his blink up now on top of everything else. And again, he maintains a 2k net worth lead now. You want to really wind at that. You've got to get that item advantage to secure yourself a power spike. Because if you're not going to get that early item advantage, then the Alchemist just kind of tapers off.
Well, Alpha X hashtag, they smoke up now. Running down straight to the bot lane, but nobody's really showing. Looks like they're trying to find another quick kill onto Raven. But Raven is nowhere near. In fact, they're in the Roshan pit. Zephyr steals Acid Spray. He says, let's go Roshan with this. Might work out. Turns out, the minus armor is actually very useful. And the Roshan goes down quite quick though. Nice scan.
Yeah.
Does come out from the side of Zaya.
But they are just going to push that mid tier 1 in exchange. They don't manage to clean it out though.
Oh, Burrow Strike on Cuckoo straight away. They want to try and shut him down though. LSA connects on 3. He finds nothing to say. Cuckoo, he will end up dying, but now the Chrono. Miracle's being caught out. The Chain Frost does absolutely nothing, and Raven's looking for more. He'll leave Winter be. I don't know what to say, John. Alpha X hashtag, I mean, they're trying their best. It's just, yeah, Polison's dead now as well.
Oh, it's just systematic from Geek fam. Just their movement, just their aggression has really been rewarded well. They know where to be in the map, and that transition from Roche into the tier 1 was just spectacular. Sure, it looked like they had Raven there, but they didn't. It looked like they could have taken Cuckoo out a bit earlier, but they couldn't. He managed to get enough done there by being the sacrificial lamb. That Geek fam followed up quite nicely. They saved their tier 1 as well. It's not even in deny range, but they saved their tier 1. They get the Aegis. They get a good set of kills. And again, on point with that chrono usage. Every single time. Off cooldown snap, use. Immediately in position. It's just fantastic to see this from Geek fam. That they understand how to maximize the potential of this hero.
I mean, matters are getting worse, John. The laner now, Ryoya, 800 gold away from his Ags. You've got a Rubik that's also going for an Ags next, already got a Blink up. So once that Ags is up on the Rubik, suddenly you're not worried about holding spell still, as they will find Dubu on the Ogre. Now he is actually pretty tanky, the only thing is he won't have any teammates coming in to help out. And so a nice pick up there from Alpha X hashtag. It does cost them 5 heroes for that. Which is not the most efficient way, but they've got to take something, or whatever they can take at this point. And it looks like Big Geek fam, I mean, they're just happy to keep farming up. They understand that the late game is in their favor. And they've still got an Aegis anyway. I imagine they want to take a team fight for a tier 2 before that Aegis does expire. In fact, probably now because Raven has a BKB.
Yeah, it just makes it that much harder to keep control onto Raven. You'd have to maybe expend something big to keep this guy down. He has a level 3 Chronosphere as well, so it's going to last a bit longer. And it's just going to be a rougher fight overall. It's really hard for Alpha. I don't think they have a significant lead enough and nothing to say to take these fights comfortably enough. So they still have to buy him some space. You want to build up a bit more in Miracle as well. He's working towards his BKB. That should allow him to really push as far forward as he wants. Still has to be aware of that Beastmaster and of course the Chronosphere. Something he has to watch out for.
Ollison, what is this positioning, sir? You mentioned it in the draft phase, and you mentioned it when we got straight into the game, but when you hit this stage of the game, suddenly there's not many places to farm for the side of Alpha X hashtag. Now they do find Cuckoo at the very least, so a nice pickup. But you're starting to see the issues that this draft has, which is that it's so greedy that this Enigma has to constantly be in the other side of the jungle, farming up in enemy territory. And now you look up to the top lane, there's a smoke going on, Raven has Chrono, he has position to find nothing to say if he really wants, but they're going to go for that mid tier 2 instead, and Velo may just get caught out if he's not careful as Raven. He'll jump on anybody right now, he just does not care. And there you go, he does. Straight off the bat, Winter's there with the Frost Shield, Laguna was there though from Ryoya, and that should be a tier 2 coming out very, very soon.
I like this understanding from Geek fam. They know if they catch out that Sand King, that's basically the initiation of Alpha X gone.
Oh,
That's
Miracle. Miracle, does he have a remnant? Yeah, he does. He'll be fine. He finds a tier 2 tower for his team.
it. Zephyr.
Zephyr's just waiting right now. Links in, gets the lift off. Where's the help though? He steals remnant again. Looks like it won't lead to anything. So a nice play from Miracle at the very least. He does stop that tier 2 mid push happening and essentially buy them more time to allow this Aegis to expire.
Yeah, this is somewhat working well for Alpha. Again, they haven't lost their Alchemist. Nothing to say. He's still farming up. You would rather see a bit more farm on Miracle. It's still slow going, but he's inching ever closer to that BKB. And you are starting to build up a bit. You've kept that net worth lead of Geek Fam to less than 1k, which is still not ideal, considering that you have an Alk, but it's not as bad as it could be, and it does give you some opportunities to open up these team fights now.
Well, there's the Aegis, leaving Raven. He'll just replace it with a Hyperstone, though. He doesn't mind too much. Chrono up in 50 seconds. He may just try to make a play on Miracle, but nice remnant out. So the farm game continues. Interesting to note, Velo actually hasn't gone for a Blink Dagger on the Sand King. So he's looking to just be aggressive with the Burrow Strike and perhaps, I guess, waiting out for nothing to say to start buying Aghanim Scepters for the team. Could just use the Ags instead, but that turnaround potential from that Sand King that he's so well known for just it doesn't seem to be there as they do smoke up. Geek Fam in the dire side jungle. Chrono gonna be up in 10 seconds. Awkward timing if they get caught out here, AlphaX hashtag, but they are trying. They stun themselves, unfortunately, I'm nothing to say. Now, Burrow Strike, they will find the Ogre, so Dubu once again is going to end up going down. The thing is, every time this Ogre dies, the other four heroes of Geek Fam essentially end up finding more kills.
It's not the biggest deal for Geek Fam to lose Double like this. Like, the Ogre is very okay where he's at. He's not even going for the Midas. Like, he's accepted. He's going to be a ward and a walking bloodless machine. That's it. And that basically is kind of enough for Ogre to do his thing.
They found Polison again.
Just
Zephyr. I believe that's the Eidolons he's picked up. And with that, in fact, no, it was Maleficus he stole.
that
So
was-
Raven now. I mean, what do you do though if you're the Enigma? You can't farm anywhere on the map. You're trying to get these
Fair.
Guardian Greaves.
It's just unfortunate. I mean, you have to go to that enemy jungle. They don't have to do anything to kill you. Raven just right-clicked. That was it, really. Just entirely right-click. No backup forthcoming, of course.
Zephyr.
And
Gonna get taken out. Nice play from Miracle, but he committed his 10-second BKB charge. And Raven has Chrono. And Miracle, oh no, not this TP.
oh no.
Yeah, gets cancelled straight away by the Chrono Raven. He's going to get some nice bashes going, though chains are there. Ryoya gets the Yules, gets the LSA. And suddenly, Miracle's kill on Rubik doesn't look so great.
It's not. It's definitely not worthwhile anymore. He had to pop his BKB for that. And you're like, okay, he popped his BKB, he got one kill. He dies after that. You don't get the BKB usage from Raven as well. So overall, it's just a massive loss in terms of that trade. Now, you did get space once more for your Alchemist. You have turned that net worth lead to your side, less than 1k. So you are having signs of life here. It still feels like it's not quite enough. Nothing to say we've got to see his impact in these fights. Is his presence going to be enough to stop the tide of Geek Fam from washing them over?
Almost 27 minutes in. Now, they might find a kill on Ryoya here up the top lane. No, Ryoya, he'll kind of just get himself out. And yeah, this smoke is going to lead to nothing. At the very least, Dota Plus is saying there's only a 58% chance of Geek Fam winning right now, so it's not that crazy. I don't know though, these Alchemists, they do tend to drop off pretty hard by around the 30-35 minute mark, especially with a start like this.
I think the biggest factor for AlphaX hashtag going into that late game is their high ground defense and the power of Black Hole. Unfortunately, Paulson is really not having the time fit with farm. You'd want this guy to have his Guardian Greaves, BKB, and Blink, and then you can take these team fights cleanly, but Paulson is on the bottom of the totem pole in terms of farm priority right now.
I mean, the BKB is not even going to help in this case, John. There's a Roar and there's Spell still. Like, it's... You're probably better off with the Linkers, but even then, it's still a very, very hard ask to get a nice black hole off. Still both teams. Just going to keep pushing out waves. Guiding Greaves will finally come up for the Enigma. Meanwhile, Zephyr is getting pretty darn close to his own Aghanim Scepter now in the Rubik, and you've got the Necro 3 book, and Cuckoo does request a pause.
Oh, it's been a while, Mike. Oh, it's a quick one.
We'll get back to it straight away. No pauses today. No more breaks.
Going back to your point, like that Ags on the Rubik for Zephyr, that is going to be big. As you mentioned earlier on, like that just makes it so easy for him to steal any spell. He's not going to care, and we've already seen what he can do with just a couple of spells in his belt. That's going to be a massive issue.
Another smoke, another failure, unfortunately, as everyone TPs out on the side of Geek Fam, and that smoke may have been underneath that Observer Ward in the Dire Jungle. They are still jumping in, but they're going to stun themselves on the Alchemist, and oh, he's been caught out. Velo, he'll Burrow Strike up. Cuckoo, he'll pop the Necro 3 book. Do they even need to roar? They definitely don't. Velo is just gone. That's not the first time he's stunned himself preemptively in a team fight, or at the start of a team fight. Well, now the Roshan's gone. I don't think you can take this Roshan fight without the Sand available.
No, you definitely can't. You can try to play around with Miracle, but he is way out of position. He does have a TP, but I reckon it's too late. It's much too late. That melted fast.
It sure did. Bot lane, Miracle.
Oh, no.
Like Raven may not have seen him in time. So he'll just keep farming up. Like Miracle is just going for a Shiver's Guard now. There's really no damage on this Ember. He's just going to try and essentially be the utility of the team. Nothing to say. I'm going to be going for an Eye of Skadi by the looks of it on the Alchemist. He's trying to tank himself up. But Cuckoo gonna find Paulson once again. Cuckoo has Roar available. Zephyr though lifts him up. Now the Yule's nothing to say. He jumps in. Raven, he gets the Chrono though.
Oh,
Winter, can he protect? Frost Shield, it will not matter. The Chain Frost won't matter either. Winter, he's trying to make a run for it. Chain Frost still bouncing around, but absolutely means nothing. And Raven is still dancing while all this is happening as he finds another kill. Meanwhile, I heard an Ember. Where the hell's he gone? Went down south.
Runes.
Pops the BKB for some bounty runes. Raven is around the area. He won't spot him out in time. I mean, that's how much of a desperate situation Alpha X hashtag is right now. They're just going to pop BKBs and get bounties and just run.
There's really not much you can do in that situation, though, if you are a Miracle. Even with that Chrono expended, you're not in position to force this fight out.
Top lane, Velo. LSA blind through the tree line, though Velo will just TP in the Sandstorm. Ryoya, he will not get it off in time. Close call. Meanwhile, at the Dire Shrine, Velo, he just TP'd out. He's in trouble again. Though no, Miracle is here. They're going to try and take this fight. Raven, he jumps back in. He has no Chrono. He will have BKB in 4 seconds. And now the Epicenter Velo trying to set up, but he time walks all that damage off. Now the Guardian Greaves with the Roar is there on Velo. Lift is there from Zephyr. Black Hole, it's available, but he knows he can't use it right now because Zephyr is waiting. So they'll take out the Enigma as well. Miracle trying to run away. They stole chains on the Rubik. They won't even care about this Ember. They'll go straight through mid by the looks of it. In fact, no, they'll go top lane instead.
That was a really clean fight going the way of Geek Fam once again. Just unfortunate for Velo. He TP's out of gank up top into another gank down at the bottom shrine. I mean, what are the chances of that?
Well, nothing to say has been caught out now as well.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He popped a 10-second BKB charge.
No.
Yep. And Cuckoo will not leave them alone.
Oh, definitely not.
He keeps giving it to him. True Filipino fashion, John.
It's what we do, Mike. You can't help it. can't help it. And that's going to be 2 sets of racks. They can't take the last one because there's a tier 2. But that is a lot of space lost for Alpha X hashtag in a short span of time. Now, I am curious as to when we will see the Paulson Black Hole. This is going to be the massive factor in these fights for them. They need that control, Mike, and we have not seen it all game.
I don't think it's
spell
coming.
usage at all.
No, I believe it was used once, John. There was one time very early on that they used it, I believe, if I remember correctly, but it was so long ago now that I'm not 100% sure. I don't believe we're going to see it a second time. Right now, though, Dubu, somewhat setting up for his team. He's baiting, and yeah, the Chrono Raven once again. Polison, Black Hole, no, not quite. Epicenter is there. BKB popped by Raven, though. Miracle, can he get out? Raven, the Raw, straight on Polison. Just get rid of that Enigma. He's gone. Miracle getting very low, but he chains up the Void, but Cuckoo will take care of business. Now the buybacks come out. They're going to keep chasing down Nothing to Say, who BKB's up. Looks like he was going after Ryoya, but now the Void's after him, and he's very, very afraid. Raven going to go after Winter. Get rid of that Lich. Bello, Burrow Strike will not go through Lincoln Sphere. Now Nothing to Say, the double stun coming out from the Lina. Nothing to Say just permanently bashed up there. He's gone as well. Velo can't get out. He's been Burrow Striked up by the Rubik Zephyr. He's gone. It's going to be a 2-man wipe, or more so a 2 times wipe as they take them down again. And Velo, he has had enough, John. He's called GG.
I mean, there's no way to defend. There's just no way. No buybacks for a full minute in Miracle. Just absolute domination from Geek Fam past a certain point. Granted, you know, early game laning phase, Alpha X, they drew even. They forced Geek Fam to stay even. They had a rough start with Nothing to Say. They managed to get some space in the mid game, but Geek Fam, with their constant aggression, with Raven's great use of that Chronosphere and Zephyr's awesome Rubik, just got them everything they needed from the mid game onwards.
It was rough. It was rough to watch. It was a lot rougher for Alpha X than it probably was for us. Nevertheless, though, John, it is a best of 2 series, and they have their chance at vengeance in this series. Of course, it is MLP Dota and John X Fire. We'll be back with you guys in just a moment for that second game. Won't be too long.